Let's grasp the nettle to begin with. Are you still beaten?
I'm beaten with referees and decisions, yeah. Just, you know, all's it, every week it just sounds like I'm a moaning mini, and I'm looking for excuses. I don't have to look for excuses today. They're there for everyone to see, and no matter what you say, it gets misinterpreted. You know, lots of headlines this week that I said that the game should have been abandoned, and never. I said I expected the game to be abandoned, not that it should have been abandoned. But people will pick up on what they want. You know, people, probably our own fans, saying I was going and moaning at the fourth official all about. I wasn't. I was going and having perfectly legitimate conversations with the fourth official, and he agreed with me for 95% of everything that went on. And you know, when you speak to the heads of the referees, you speak to the referee himself, who's a pleasant enough chap, and he's an honest lad. And you know, they realise that there's certain areas that they can improve on. So you know, people just think that all I want to do is castigate referees. I don't. But anyone who's watched us this season will know that we've been on the rough end of about 19, 20 big decisions, game changes. And that's too much for one team, and it gets you down, and it's finally got me down, so there's no point complaining about it, because not now.
You've spoken a few times about the fact that referees are human, and you know, they make fewer mistakes than players. What practically can be done? Is there anything you can think of that can be done to...
Listen, there's not. You know, the only way you're going to relieve the pain is by getting out of the game, from my point of view. So I've just got to go through the pain for as long as I'm involved in football. As I said before, they don't make mistakes on purpose. You know, the good chat I had with the referee, that the perception he gave was that he was being influenced by the crowd. Now, whether he was or he wasn't is immaterial, but to respond to the crowd, you know, when you very rarely see a goalkeeper getting warned for time waste after 20 minutes, when he's not particularly time wasting, but the crowd can have an influence on that. And people are only human, aren't they? And after the game, myself and the referee agreed on quite a lot of things. So, you know, you don't always get things right. I 100% don't always get everything right. I make loads of mistakes. Not more so than last week when I put a defender on instead of a striker. But you know, you've got to be big enough to admit that you make mistakes and try your best to learn from them. And you know, that's all you can do.
You've alluded to the incident that you said you thought the game might be abandoned, or you expected it to be abandoned. Is there a concern? You've been in football a long time. That's not the only incident this weekend that we've seen.
Oh, it's creeping in. It's creeping in badly, and you know, something's got to be done to stop it. You know, it's very, very difficult how you deal with things like that. You know, how could you blame Rotherham for a fan running on? But ultimately, that fan intervention has made a big part in winning the game. You know, for one, it's made Harry Pell wait 4 minutes to take the pen. He's also been manhandled as well, borderline assaulted. You know, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. You stop him taking the pen. He's desperate to take the pen now because of what's happened. So all that's going through the mind. I'm not saying I wanted the game to be abandoned, or I think the game should have been abandoned, but I expected that was what would have happened, because I've never been in that situation before. And it would have been interesting to see if the lads had have injured Harry Pell, because we'd used all our subs. So I don't know where we'd have gone with that. So that's another thing that possibly things have got to be put in place to overcome that if it happens again, because more and more bizarre things are happening in football, and you've got to cover every base, and that base as it stands now hasn't been covered.
I asked you after the game on Saturday how you pick the players up, because you've got to pick yourself up. How do you draw a line under it and focus attentions and minds and energies on Oxford United?
I drew a line under it about 9 o'clock Saturday night. Probably a little bit longer than it normally takes me. You know, I've worked a lot on training my mind to be positive and to eliminate negative thoughts. I'm lucky enough that I've managed to do that, which leads to a healthier life that you live anyway. And now Saturday's gone, and all I'm looking forward to now. I wouldn't be speaking about it if you'd been asking. And you know, obviously it's your job to ask me about it, but all my focus now is on coming up with a plan to try and beat Oxford.
It's been a while since you won at home. How much is that a priority, given over the years the reputation you've got for being so good here?
It's also been a while since we lost at home.
Draws, we talked about the other day, didn't we?
I don't like draws, particularly at home. It's a while since we won. Period, as they say in America. You just want to. I keep saying this, and I don't know whether people believe me or not, but the element of luck is just frightening football. And you just got to keep knocking on the door, and eventually it will open for you. You know, we've gone to the league leaders on Saturday. We've had nearly double their shots on goal. Executed a well thought out game plan, not just by me and the players, all the staff who had a big input into that. And we couldn't have applied any better. And possibly a little bit unlucky not to. I would have thought not to win the game, but certainly to get something out of it. Very unlucky. But then you move on, and you're always trying to be better. Playing against a very good Oxford side tomorrow, we've had some wonderful results. We've watched them first. John and Jimmy went to watch them at Wigan. I watched them the week before. I've watched a big part of the game on Saturday. So we know what to expect. Good football and team. But we know we're a good team. And as we've proved, we can compete against the top of the league. We can compete against anybody.
Does it help? Not so much for you because you've got so much experience as a manager, but does it help that the majority of this group of players have had a spell this season where you weren't winning and then turned it around, learned from experience kind of thing? Yeah,
the one thing that's blatantly obvious is how much we've improved defensively. And I'd said all along we have defended better. We have defended better than what our goals against column suggests. But we are eliminating the silly mistakes. And it took a wonder goal to beat us on Saturday. And we limited them to not many shots on our goal. And you know, we all know that the attack that the wonder goal come from shouldn't have happened. That's not me saying it, that's the officials saying it. So that's the little bit of luck that you need.
Let's talk about forwards. We've got to look at Adedayan as a substitute at Rotherham at the weekend. What's he brought, and from those early signs, how much better can he get?
I think the more he plays in our team and the more he understands the way we play, he'll get better. He's got a good touch, he's physically strong, he's got a bit of pace. And it would have been interesting to see the outcome of that one-on-one when the referee waved play on and then stopped it, which led to their goal. So that would have been, I would have liked to have seen what had happened there. But I said this on Saturday, this is the benefits of having a big squad. We've never ever had the riches that we've had. Certainly this season we haven't, you know, to be able to leave 4 quality players, not even on the bench, and leave a couple of good players, well, 3 or 4 good players at home as well. It shows the strength and depth that we've got in the squad, and you know, we're getting the players back from injury now as well, which is helpful. We've had periods where we've had 8 or 9 on the team and table, and that's down to a couple with young Reece as well, making it 3. So yeah, things are looking promising for the strength of the squad, and then it's up to me to try and pick the right team on any given day and make the right subs at the right time.
With Adedayan and Bagaloo and Longello, is that a step forward that you're developing players that you've signed permanently rather than when you would previously maybe have got those lads on loan and develop them for somebody else?
Yeah, and that's got to be the model that we've got to adhere to. You're always trying to grow the club, no more so than Andy Holt, who's trying to grow the infrastructure of the club, the actual surroundings, and we're always trying to get better. And if you develop your own players, that's an income stream that probably gives you the biggest instant hit or instant lift, as we've seen with the building bar on the back of some cage.
How's Colby Bishop?
We're looking at him today. There was no major damage, and it's just a case of when it's not sore enough that he can't play, or not sore enough that he can play. So he's got a hurty leg.
When he was suspended after that red card in the FA Cup, the results and the impact of him not being there were clear to see. Are you in a better position now?
I think so. We've got more players available than what we had at that time. But the proof of the pudding's in the results. Not always the way you play, and results don't always tally with how your performances are, but over a period of time they generally do.